Kieran Ramsey, chief investigative officer for Global Reach, recounted the severe conditions endured by U.S. Marine veteran Robert Gilman during his wrongful detention in Russia, and advocated for the immediate release of 5 additional American citizens currently held by Russian authorities. Ramsey, who played a central role alongside U.S. officials in securing Gilman's release after approximately 1666 days of imprisonment, commended President Donald Trump's administration for its determined humanitarian intervention. According to Ramsey, President Trump's engagement at the highest levels of leadership and the involvement of key figures, including Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, Secretary Rubio, and the CIA director, were instrumental in Gilman's repatriation. Gilman's detention began after an unplanned diversion to Russia in 2022, while en route to Moldova, prompted by sudden illness and the presence of extended family in the region. Following his recovery, Gilman attempted to renew his passport at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, but became acutely ill en route and was subsequently apprehended by Russian police, who alleged he was intoxicated and accused him of assaulting law enforcement officers. This event marked the onset of a protracted ordeal, during which Gilman was subjected to repeated physical violence, forced exercise, psychological intimidation, including threats against his family, and prolonged isolation. Upon his release to U.S. authorities, Gilman began recuperative treatment in a U.S. hospital with his family present, though he reportedly faces a significant recovery owing to the hardships suffered during incarceration. The designation of Gilman as a wrongful detainee by the State Department facilitated expedited medical care upon his return. Global Reach continues to represent 5 other Americans detained in Russia, whom Ramsey maintains meet the criteria for wrongful detention as outlined in the Robert Levinson Hostage-Taking and Accountability Act. This legislation provides a framework for imposing sanctions on individuals implicated in the unlawful detention of U.S. nationals abroad. Ramsey noted, however, that policy debates within the State Department have potentially delayed the formal recognition of these individuals as wrongful detainees, due to concerns that such classifications might complicate diplomatic negotiations for their release. Among those represented by Global Reach are Alexander Antonov, an international businessman from California with business interests in Crimea and Ukraine, who was detained after Russian authorities discovered his U.S. passport. Antonov has reportedly been targeted and harassed during his imprisonment, including a recent violent assault by another inmate. David Barnes, a Texas resident, has remained in Russian custody for over 4 years after traveling to Russia amidst a contentious custody dispute and facing allegations initiated by his former spouse. Olga Jesler, a lawful permanent resident previously residing in New York, was detained after traveling to Russia to care for her ill sister and subsequently being charged with drug trafficking for possession of CBD oil, which Ramsey asserts was legal in Russia at the time. Jesler reportedly faces a medical condition putting her reproductive health at risk, which could be readily addressed if she were in the United States. Andrei Khachaturian, who was transiting through Russia to Armenia while in possession of a rifle for which he allegedly had proper documentation, has been detained for over 4 years. His health continues to deteriorate due to an unmanaged autoimmune disorder. Chuck Zimmerman, originally from Virginia, was apprehended by Russian authorities in international waters after diverting his sailing route due to regional conflict. Russian naval forces compelled Zimmerman to enter a Russian port under threat of force, subsequently charging him with international arms trafficking for possession of a firearm aboard.